Welcome in to the Dallas Cowboys live post-game show here on the Gridiron Grind. Creta 3 Jimmy G. Never in doubt.
Never in doubt, man. Never thought, was never worried. Never thought we
Honestly,
let us away.
I really was never worried.
No, especially the way that each defense couldn't stop the other offense. I said, you know what? Okay, if we're going to go tit for tat, if we're going to make this a tennis match, I like our defense when it's all said and done. And they showed up, came up big when it counted.
Yeah, gave up a lot of points tonight, but perfect on fourth downs. Seattle was 0 for 3 on fourth downs. Fourth quarter came up huge. And, not the best defensive performance, but when it mattered, the Cowboys defense came through and got it done. And Cowboys win 9-3. They beat the Seahawks 41-35, and now get extra rest for the big showdown with the Eagles next Sunday night.
Good. Everybody rest up, get the little kinks, the little soreness out, and like you said, get ready. That's a big game next up. So,
yeah,
good win.
Good win. 9-3 on the season. Stay 2 games back of the Eagles. Of course, the Eagles are playing the 49ers this week. 49ers are actually favored, so that's huge.
We need to, the Eagles got to slip up at some point. You would think
the way they're playing,
if they make it through that gauntlet, I'm going, boys. That I don't know. We really needed San Fran. We needed Buffalo. We needed the Chiefs. We really needed Philly to go 0-3. But maybe we'll carry this on in momentum. Got some rest and keep it going on in and get one.
All right, get your questions in here on the chat. Live post-game show, Gridiron Grind, Creta 3 and Jimmy G. We just had a text. Why should I watch y'all's post-game show when Prime's post-game show will have Dak and CD? I don't know. Maybe we'll have Dak and CD. We can call them up real quick.
Theirs is recorded. Ours is live.
I think theirs is live, too.
No?
Okay.
Fake news.
Geno Smith had a pretty solid game for the Seahawks. Carved us up a little bit. Metcalf had a huge game. Lockett had a few drops, but he had 5 catches. But a pretty good game by Geno Smith. Surprised our defense gave up so much.
Yeah, Geno Smith really, like you said, carved us up. Kind of, those weapons. DK on the big 70-yard touchdown pass, and that one that you and I watched, and that touchdown of Smith and Jigba that we both were looking at live. We go, there's no way. There's too much of the ball is out of it for it not to. And the ref saw it that way, but then they scored 3 plays in a row, and penalties, man. I tell you, penalties.
Holy cow. Most penalties in a game this season.
We're both the most penalized teams. We're the 2 most penalized teams in the NFL, and it showed tonight. It was wild.
How much does that worry you about the Cowboys going forward? Seattle had 10 penalties, 130 yards. Cowboys 9 for 127. At some point, it bites us in the butt every year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Some point it's going to do it again this year.
Yeah, you just got to hope they get that worked out. Maybe use this long week to, we're lining up offsides. Like, guys, it's your hand and your helmet's offside in the neutral zone. Like, just back up a little bit. And the good thing is a lot of it's easy correctable stuff, the offside, stuff like that. And some of it was ticky-tacky on both sides.
Yeah.
There was a couple, the PI on Lamb I didn't think was PI, but, hey, I'll take the call, every time. So,
absolutely. Let's get through some stats. Cowboys ran 79 plays tonight for 411 yards, 275 through the air, 136 yards rushing. It's a big stat. Seattle had 334 through the air, 406 total yards, only 72 rushing. We only had the 1 sack. Of course, the Cowboys gave up 4 sacks, but we affected Geno Smith on those 4th downs. Huge. Where is Seattle thinking not blocking Micah Parsons on 4th and 3 there at the end of the game?
Dude, I think that was miscommunication. I cannot believe that the play was drawn up for them to just let Micah Parsons come unabated to the quarterback. If you're going to set anybody free, set maybe one of the interior linemen free. I don't know who on our defense you're just going to go, no, it's okay, you go by me. Especially not Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was I think that was miscommunication. I think DJ Dallas was supposed to kick over. Looked like he didn't know what to do. I think the tackle blocked in. He wasn't supposed to. But you know what? Good for them. Glad they did it.
Yeah. I'm glad they had a miscommunication at the perfect time with the game on the line. Look at some numbers. Dak Prescott, 29 of 41, 299 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He continues to just light it up with touchdowns through the year. 115.8 passer rating. Uh, People have strong opinions about Dak. Don't care what you say. I mean, he's having a phenomenal season.
Mm-hmm.
He really is. On the ground, again, we ran for 136. Pollard, 20 for 68 yards and a tutty. Lamb had the big run, 2 carries, 30 yards. Dak ran the ball a lot this game. Hadn't seen that a lot from him in the last couple of years. He had 7 carries for 23 yards.
I really liked, even though it got called back, I liked how he kept going and dove and barreled his way into the
Yep.
end zone. Just like you said, Dak using his feet more opens up another facet of our offense, and that's what we're going to need as we get in here in the dog days here late in the fall. Excuse me, in the winter, late in the season, we're gonna need every yard we can get.
Absolutely. Looking at the receiving, CeeDee Lamb, another phenomenal game. 12 catches,
Man,
116 yards, had a touchdown. He was targeted 17 times. I love the game plan. Throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb as much as possible. 17 times, he got 12 catches, 116, and a touchdown. Ferguson came through. Tight end room is growing. They're
mm-hmm.
really starting to produce. Ferguson, 6 catches, 77 yards, a touchdown. Cooks is starting to show up second half of the season. Cooks had 4 catches, 45 yards, a touchdown. Tolbert added a catch for 17. Pollard 3 for 15. Schoonmaker got him 1 for 12. Turpin 1 for 10. That was a big catch by Turpin,
Yeah.
right to 6 on that third down play. And Dowdle had a screen pass 1 for 7. Defensively, we just had the 1 sack. That was by Jonathan Hankins. He had a great game today too.
Dude, and Hankins, you and I were talking. I mean, he's just so big. And he's brought in, last year, fill the gap. Let's try to get up front. We got to get bigger up front. One, for our division alone, obviously with the Eagles, but then two, just teams that can run the football, man. And that's what he did. He fills the gaps. He's a load.
Yeah,
You know,
huge.
I hate to have to block him.
When they can't even get a jersey to fit you.
Yeah, you're big.
You're special in the middle. Just 1 turnover in the game. Cowboys continue to take care of the football, especially at home. Deron Bland had the interception of Geno Smith. Somehow didn't make it into a touchdown. Just a regular interception for Bland today. And I saw a stat: the Cowboys, they've only committed multiple turnovers in a game twice this season, and one of those was a Cooper Rush interception at the end of the game. So the Cowboys have done a great job of taking care of the football this year. Last year they had 10 games where they had multiple turnovers. So that's one thing. Dak had the bad game against the 49ers, but he has really cut down on the interceptions this year and done a phenomenal job of taking care of the football.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest difference, and why kind of you and I are like, hey, let's not be beating Dak up too much. He's been taking care of the football, and a lot of people are going, well, short of a Super Bowl and da da da. But I'm going, yeah, short of a Super Bowl, there's only one quarterback a year that wins that. So I guess for that matter, every other quarterback underachieves. But for Dak, this is huge improvement from where he's been. Like I said, he's never taken care of the football this well so far, this far in the season. So I'm happy. I'm happy with how he's doing. And like I said, not turning the ball over and putting it in the end zone.
All right, let's get into some questions. Got a couple chats rolling in. Ken Alcon up in Philadelphia. Ken, I'll be there next Sunday watching the game with the Cowboys, Eagles. Game's actually in Dallas, but I'm going to be in Philly in the living room there. Gorsuch Lane, I believe, in Ridley, watching it, just surrounded by a bunch of Eagle fans. Me and Ken gonna check it out as Cowboys try to take down the Eagles next week. Ken says they were thinking about next week until the second half. Maybe true. It was a close game first half. He says they still miss Zeke. And I tell you what, Zeke would come in handy, blocking on third down and getting those third and ones, fourth and ones. He would really help in the red zone.
Yeah, I agree. I think you said it. Blocking on third down, that was one of the things that kept Zeke on the field. The last year, everybody's kind of pushing for Pollard because, yeah, you could hand to Pollard, and, man, it was like a gun, bullet shot out of a gun. But Zeke, what kept him on the field was his ability to protect on third down. And if you can do that, you're going to stay on the field, and that's.
So I agree.
I like Dowdle though. I
I
do
like
like what
Dowdle.
we've gotten Dowdle. I think Dowdle can be our kind of our goal line guy. Maybe get him in the weight room one more season, and I think we've got a good 1-2 punch, just like we did with Zeke and Pollard.
But I agree. We do miss Zeke because Zeke would have a role on this team. Just probably not what we were paying him, but he would definitely have a role in this team. Mad Dog says, been saying it for weeks. D4K for MVP. I mean, he's having an MVP caliber season by the numbers, and I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite for the MVP. And with our schedule being as tough as it is down the stretch, if he gets some big-time wins and plays well, and the Cowboys finish strong, I think he could win the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible. I think he's going to have big wins. I don't think he can just have, crazy stats and we lose games. But yeah, if he keeps putting up the same numbers and we're still winning games, I think you've got to have him in the discussion.
Ferguson, a beast. Yeah, Ferguson's really playing great football. We look at the Eagles. Man, we need them to lose to the 49ers. They play the 49ers. Is that a Sunday afternoon game? And then come to Dallas. I mean, there's two games right there. The time the Cowboys finish their next game, they could be tied for first place.
Mm-hmm. And we need to, because Philly, I tell you what, man, you and I talked about it after that Buffalo. As soon as Buffalo kicked the field goal, Philly's going to win this game.
Yeah.
Just because Philly does what elite teams do.
They
find a way to win the game. You're exactly right. Now, they look vulnerable. Why? Well, because they're not blowing teams out. They've had a lot of close games this year. But that's really where you find out how good you are, is in those close games. Can your quarterback make the right decision? Can your defense step up and get stops? And that's what Philly's done so far. So, but I love it. I love going into Dallas. Like I said, they've got a big test against San Fran, and then they're going to have a big test against our Cowboys. So I love it. I would rather be like this than them come in and just be winless. And it's going to be although I would love just the rollover, we just mash them. But I do love the hype coming into that game next week.
And the way the Cowboys play at home. I mean, you heard Kirk Herbstreit, now Michael's talking about it. I mean, they're almost unbeatable at home since 2017. You look at, Philadelphia has the best record in the NFL by 2 games. They play a lot of close games. But would you say they're the best team in the league right now? They have the best record, but are they the best team in the league?
I think so. And just from what we just talked about, they're finding ways to win football games. Yeah. They're not making mistakes late in the game. And, and some of it's luck. And not just because it's Philly. Every year you look at the team that wins the Super Bowl, you can go back and look, and there's several instances of them taking care of the football, doing what they got to do, doing things that elite teams do. And then there's elements of luck. Dak stepping out on that rush.
Yeah.
The Ferguson, the knees down, he's down by contact, that stuff. That's the stuff when you look at the end of the year and see teams holding up the Lombardi trophy, you look back and stuff like that goes there. Yeah, I'd say Philly's the best team in the league on the field. And like I said, Lady Luck may be on their side.
We, like I said, the 49ers are 3-point favorite over Philadelphia. I believe the game is in Philadelphia, right? Let me check. Yep, in Philadelphia, afternoon game. Need the 49ers to take down the Eagles. You got Detroit there, San Francisco again. But it's so important with the Cowboys, the way they play at home, to win this division. And they have a small, slim chance to do that. And it starts with Philadelphia's got to lose another game, and then the Cowboys got to beat them. And then you got to finish strong. Cowboys have a tough schedule. After Philadelphia, we're at Buffalo, at Miami. It's going to be terrible weather in Buffalo. And then we play the Lions at home. So our next 4 games could decide our fate. We put ourselves in a hole, losing the first Philadelphia game and losing to the Cardinals.
Yep.
But to have a chance to get where this team wants to do it, they're so much better at home than they are on the road.
Yeah, and you said it, that Cardinals loss, we knew it. We talked about it then. It's going to come back and bite us. You've got to play the Lions, who are – Dan Campbell might be coach of the year. I mean, golly, that guy's doing a heck of a job up there in Detroit. So they're not a pushover any longer. Of course, you know what Philly's doing. That loss to the Cardinals now is just huge. So
Yeah.
you've got to almost win out.
All right, just a few more minutes left on the Gridiron Grind Dallas Cowboys Live postgame show. Creta 3 Jimmy G. One of our favorites, Raymond Gabe Terrell, chimes in on the chat. This was a huge win for the Cowboys' confidence because they came from behind and found a way to win. I 100% agree because almost all of our games this year that we've won, I mean, we've blown out bad teams. We had a close game against Philadelphia, lost that one. Semi-close one against the Cardinals, we lost that one. Got dominated by the Niners, and we did have a close one on the road against the Chargers on Monday night, and we found a way to win that one. But it helps so much when you can play close games against playoff caliber teams. Seahawks were in the playoffs last year. They'll probably make it again this year. To have those caliber teams have close games and find a way to win, I agree with what Gabe's saying. It's huge for confidence and just for the level of play you need to play with and the intensity and the focus down the stretch to do what the Cowboys want to do.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That coming from behind because you prove that you can do it. Like you said, the Cowboys aren't. We've been ahead a lot all season, or we've been behind, and that's it. And so, yeah, for us to for us to beat a good football team, Seattle's playoff team, winning record team, for us to beat a team like that does a lot, but much less for us to come from behind and beat a good team, and not just a team not like Arizona who had a phenomenal game, great game plan. This is a good team who came out and punched you in the mouth early, and you said, okay, it's going to be a boxing match back and forth. For us to stand our ground, withstand the flurry of punches, and come back and counter with some stuff of our own, end up winning it. Yeah, I think that's a great comment. It's great for the psyche, great for the mindset, and great for the defense, great for the Cowboys.
Absolutely. Ken Elkine says, what do you think about the intentional grounding on Buffalo last week? BS, that was game. I mean, I don't know. By the letter of the law, they're trying to cut down on quarterbacks just getting rid of the football to avoid sacks. Although Geno Smith got away with one today. There was a running back right there, but he spiked it into the ground to avoid a sack. I mean, there just happened to be a running back there blocking. The Buffalo one's kind of the same way. I've seen them call that a lot more this year. They're trying to prevent quarterbacks from just getting rid of the ball to sack when they're throwing it in the area but not trying to complete the pass. I think it's the rule. I don't know. That was a toss-up. But Buffalo, I mean, you had a chance to slay the dragon, and you just dropped the ball so many times.
Yeah, you got down there to perfect position to score a touchdown. I mean, when Jason Kelce had the two big false starts.
Yes.
And I said, man, if Jason Kelce's messing up, I said, dude, they're going to lose this game. And when he kicked that field goal, I went, it's over. I said, dude, this is because, again, that's what happens when luck's on your side, when you're a good football team, elite football team, and you have luck on your side, which usually they kind of go hand in hand. You kick that field goal, and I'm like, it's over. Buffalo drives down, like you said, had their chance, couldn't do it. And as soon as Bass kicked that field goal, I went, well, Philly's got this. Because nobody, it's just one of those games, And so, yeah, Buffalo had their chance. I don't think that grounding, did it too much. They just couldn't take care of business.
Yeah, Gabe getting in late. Will Dak win the MVP? We already had that question. We addressed it. We think he's playing MVP caliber. Absolutely. He's got a chance. He's not a clear-cut favorite. So, yeah, I mean, Dak's got every chance to win the MVP. If the Cowboys have some big wins and win down the stretch, he'll be right there for it. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Live postgame show. Cowboys defeat Seattle Thursday Night Football, 41-35. We'll next host the Philadelphia Eagles Sunday night game, and I will be watching that game in enemy territory. I'll actually be in Philadelphia. Got a trip to New York, but I'm going to Philly for the weekend. Visit my boys, Ken and Kenny. Of course, Kenny's a huge Philadelphia fan, Ken Cowboys fan, so me and Ken are going to watch him. I'm going to wear my Dak Prescott jersey.
Good.
I'm just going to, and after we beat them, I'm just going to run down Gorsuch Street there in Ridley, right outside of Philadelphia, just screaming, how about them Cowboys?
Yep, teabagging.
Just so get ready for that. I'm going to, in hostile territory. I don't know if I'll make it out alive. City of Brotherly Love. They might show me some of that.
And one final note also, no punts today.
No punts. Yeah.
No punts today. Anger and Dixon just kind of sat on the sideline, looked across at each other, and went, "Well, I don't know, man."
Got a late question in from the famous DC. What do you think of Mike McCarthy throwing the ball at the end of the game? I thought it was stupid. I thought it was completely stupid. If you run the ball there and you don't get it, you would have wasted 40 seconds. Seattle would have got the ball, but and you ended up kicking a field goal anyway. You kick the field goal, you go up by 6, which I don't love. You'd rather have the first down and run up the clock. But at the same time, if you run the football, it's only 3 yards. You get the clock down to around a minute. You kick the field goal anyway. You go up 6. They have no timeouts and got to go the length of the field with a minute instead of a minute 45. I thought it was a stupid play call to throw the ball at the end of the game.
I tell you, if we do that against a guy like Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, even as bad as they're playing, you're going to get beat. So, yeah, that's one of those things like, hey, man, we've got to we rely on our defense too much, and I'd love a good balance. Instead of our defense basically just taking care of business all the time, love a good balance. So, yeah, I would have liked to have run the ball there as well. But, hey, man, it's a win.
It's a win.
Take it.
9-3 are the Cowboys, second in NFC East. Join us. We'll be next week. We'll have the post-game show after the Cowboys and Eagles game. Check out our college football podcast is up, Apple Pod, YouTube, for all of our college football bets and everything. And we had a lot to talk about this week. Had some good questions talking about the college football playoff. So check that out, and then we'll be back next week to talk about how the playoff shakes out, and the conference championships shake out, and then of course we'll preview the huge Cowboys-Eagles game. Might have a guest appearance for that podcast next week, and of course we'll have the live post-game show next week, Cowboys-Eagles. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for getting your chats in. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.